The first they had to put the moon there.
Who's there again? Who's there again, Rod? Who put the moon there?
Whoever the fuck them Anunnaki people.
Yeah.
They was working with the Galactic Council to isolate Earth because we was blowing shit up. When they isolate the Earth, they had to block Lilith out to control the women. So they put the moon there. There was already an orb up there, but it was more amplifying to that Lilith energy, which gave the women the ability to produce both genders by parthenogenesis. When they took the old moon, the real moon away and put this spaceship moon up there, they got up there right now, and then they put the Dark Knight satellite in place about 250,000 years ago. And these two projects the subconscious matter into the 3D reality. It's the holographic universe we talked about at the beginning, Rich. If you look at the holographic projector, remember I asked you know how the holographic projector works? You got to have one fixed going from left to right, and then the other one had to be fixed going up to down. And the projection of the hologram projects between the rays that both of them are projecting. Right? So you need both the Dark Knight satellite and the moon to simultaneously project the hologram. The Fortnite simulation is the easiest way to compare it. So take the Fortnite simulation, and now who's ever fighting the war, they can't never escape because they're so busy fighting the war, and it requires them to forget who they is and then wake up in the dream. But most of us don't believe that's a reality because you have people that's been taught to keep, their job is to keep us from waking up. Yeah, that's the George Washington challenge. Right? And it's also based on statements from Rothschilds and Rockefellers. Right? So they told us what they was doing to us. They told us how they were doing it. And when they was telling it to us, we never believed it was them when they identified themselves by telling us who was responsible for what was being done. So we was going along to get along. And didn't even realize we was going along to get along with the wrong one. Because nobody won't say that.
Yeah, that's what you broke down with the moon and the moon and the Dark Knight satellite. That's quite interesting because we don't hear a lot about the Dark Knight satellite. And I know Billy had the documentary, but outside of that, I don't hear a lot of people talk about the Dark Knight satellite. So if it takes both of those to create the hologram, then the Dark Knight satellite has been around just as long as this new moon you saying that was planted here.
They had to be in conjunction in close proximity in time.
Okay.
Now they never told us how long the moon been there. They estimate 2 billion years, but we know that the Dark Knight satellite only been up there, I think, either 25,000 or 250,000 years. Right, but remember, the original moon was replaced with this spaceship, so that when you replace something with something else, it tends to paint that part of somebody's memory in. Right? So you won't know exactly where the switch took place.
You ever do moon rituals, right? Full moon, half moon, new moon, you ever do moon rituals?
The moon is a timer. It's a timer. It's using the biology of the female as a timer. Right? This is where you can trace back your Mayan calendar is operating off the lunar cycles, not the solar cycle. So the lunar calendar is telling you how much of the dark energy you can use at any given time.
Right. Right.
The phases of the moon is how much dark energy coming in, or Lilith energy is coming in. And that's why it took the women a couple thousand years, but they easily mastered the cycles of the moon. They just couldn't turn off the part that make them have involuntary menstrual cycles.
Mm. Yeah. What, we was talking about the Bible earlier and it being coded, and we talked about water earlier also, and the veil being thin and water, etheric water, all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What did Jesus walking on water symbolize for you, Rod? What was that a metaphor for, Jesus walking on water?
It's the sun. When the sun is rising up on the horizon,
Uh-huh.
Horus rising.
On the morning time.
Yeah, look. So the Jesus story is the story of Isis and Horus.
You talking about Venus?
No, the Jesus story in your Bible is the story of Isis and Horus. It's an excerpt from the Holy Drama.
Yeah.
Jesus walking on water is the sun rays Ra walking across the water, as in reflecting on the waters during the rising of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
The projection of it at some point gives you the appearance of the step pyramid.
I seen that.
Right? That's because they showing you what the horizon of the sun look like. The Horus rising.
Right.
The Horus rising symbol of the rising sun is the pharaoh headdress. That's the with the gold with the black lines in it, commonly referred to as the Tut headdress.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the god. That's the new pharaoh rising up as Horus across the horizon. The story in the biblical where it say Jesus walked on water, they using the name Jesus to identify both the mama and the son. Because remember, his name's supposed to be Emmanuel. But because the mother is so great, everybody just knows her son. So he became referred to as Isis' son. Right? Esau's son. With your metaphorical Talmudic expression of Yahshua. But the New Testament was written in Greek. It wasn't written in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
It was written in Greek, and in Greek the word is Isis. So when they're telling you the story of Isis and Horus rising, the new sun is ascending the throne. Metaphor. Right? The throne is between the twin pillars, Revelation, where the dragon was waiting to devour the birth of the new child, which is the new age. The woman giving birth is Kali Ma, Mother Time. She's birthing a new age. Between the twin pillars, the Gemini twins, Joaquin and Boaz. Right? Boaz, the family redeemer. Right? So it's telling you the story of Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
It's tying all those stories together through the book of Revelation. Draco being the dragon, representing the reptile, the serpent, the Nagas. So you follow the Nagas, the wizards, those who can perform the rituals out in the public can get the most attention from the one who can understand the most rituals. And that's how you get to the top of the chain.
Mm.
He who knows the most ritual is the king of the ritual.
There's this dude. First of all, all right, I'm gonna get to this because I want to get to the dragons real quick. Because when you hear about the veil being thin, you always hear about the dragons. I'm gonna get to that, but I'll get to something that's similar to the whole dragon, and that is the idea of monsters. I mentioned Bobby a lot earlier. One thing Bobby said was that, and I like to ask different people this, but I definitely need to ask you this: is that we were the original monsters, and that's why they had to make us scared of the monsters. We was talking about the moon. I heard people say Moonstar, Monster. I don't know if they got Monster for Moonstar, but where did this term or this idea of monsters come from based on what is Bobby talking about when he says that?
So you ever see cave paintings of silhouettes, black silhouettes?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's just like, it's not detailed paintings, they just silhouettes, like there might be a hand.
Yeah.
Okay, now, you remember the puppet show we used to do with our fingers when we was little?
Mm-hmm.
That's a monster. The reflection on the wall is the monster.
Right.
Right? It's not real. If the trees is carved in a certain way, when you bend the curve, the tree can look like it's making a spiral spinning motion, but the tree ain't moving. You just going around the tree around the curve.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? That's a monster effect.
Okay.
It's an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Over time, it became married to the thought form called the daemon or the demon.
Okay.
They're two different things, but they became tied at the hip like Siamese twins. The daemon was the energy that's produced when you write an app. The app performs a function. The function that the app is performing is being a daemon. Now, this was originally done using sigil magic for the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So they was using the sigil magic in order to write the code to upgrade their brain so they didn't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? These became known as spirits, but they really what you call egregores. They are thought forms that generations of elders charged up and taught others how to charge and use it.
Mm-hmm.
Becomes so powerful over time, it takes on a life of its own. So you see, they teach you in the lodges, secret societies teach you how to perform the rituals.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the rituals put you in a certain frame of energy, frequency of mind. Right? All this is tied back to your demons, your egregores, and what was the ones you said?
Monsters.
Monsters. Right? Because it all started with something that was going on in the mind, and they had to figure out a way to explain it.
Yeah.
Right? The confusion of the monster from the silhouette having the same amount of effect as the monster or egregore that's being created is disinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They don't have the same effect. They serve two different purposes. So they're going to have two different effects. The one they call daemon, that's why they say you demon possessed. Because once you own a daemon, you don't have to study that field of knowledge. All you got to do is activate that daemon, and he'll provide that field of knowledge to you.
Mm.
Some people call them ancestral spirits.
Mm-hmm.
The spirit is breath, right? So when they talk about ancestral spirit, as spiritus, the breath,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you breathing your ancestors. So you're doing the energy exchange with your ancestors. Because what is breath? It's an exchange of energy. The body takes in the oxygen and releases the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and whatever other impurities come along with it. Right? So the information exchange or the fuel exchange takes place in the silence.
I want to show you something, Rod. I got a couple more questions for you. This dude here's an Asian dude. I want to get him on the show. I seen a couple of shows that's pretty interesting. How I put this on? Give me a second. Since you mentioned dragons earlier,
your homeboys is growing up, and y'all hear an older guy macking a chick, right?
mm-hmm.
And when y'all get back, y'all was like, man, he was spitting fire at her,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's the same. Dragon named Master. Remember I told you that before?
Yeah. Yeah.
In the ancient spirits of the masters is the dragon spirit. The Draco spirit is actually the Naga spirit.
We
And
talked about them earlier.
yeah, when they talking about the return of the Nagas, they talking about the return of the original blood.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you saying the dragons that return is the original bloodline, the human dragons?
Mm-hmm. Remember, the worst dragons on record was what? The Gorgon priestesses, right? They was dragon bulls. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Remember, Lilith was the dark sister, the dark mother.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she was considered as the dragon.
Mm.
Do you remember when she came back on the beginning of the Marvel comic and Thor and Loki standing out there and Thor threw his hammer at her and she crushed it?
Damn. Now that you say that, yeah.
That was when they was calling her Hela, the mother of Greece. She was coming back for what was hers, wasn't she? And what she told her?
Damn.
And what did Thor do? Thor left Earth to go protect Asgard. He ain't trying to protect her. Think about it. She came back from being sentenced to so much time in the underworld. Remember what I told you the veil was?
Yeah.
Okay, now, while she's waking up from the slumber now, she's lifting the veil. When the veil is lifted, she comes forth as Hela.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But that's Lilith. By description, by character. It's the same character, different name.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Who is the leader of the Gorgon? Right now we getting into Medusa. See, we talking about this dragon energy. We talking about the energy of the first warriors of the earth, which was all women. They was the original first two guardians of the earth. They didn't need no men until they had to go to war with men.
Mm-hmm.
So then they had to come together to come up with a plan to produce a man. Them the serpents. Then the devotees to Kali Ma become the Thuggee. And this is why, as long as you call them us thugs, we don't care. We don't thug it out.
Mm.
It's the same energy. Only certain ones know how to use the old energy.
Right. Who you said Tupac was in the past life? You said
King Tut.
Tut. Right. That's who you said. Tut. And
It's the boy king.
Right.
The boy king he's able to rule at an early age, but normally they won't let him because he's not. He haven't reached a certain age of life experience.
Mm-hmm.
So they give him a crash course in life experience by sending him all over the place like a ping pong ball.
Mm. Hmm. Shit get interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Real interesting. What hold up, let me see something. What would you say, Rod? I noticed it's kind of weird, Rod. And what's weird is that we're talking about the veil thinning and the world's merging and us being able to tap into things we wasn't previously able to tap into. But I'm noticing while this is happening, people are giving up on spirituality. People like just looking around on the internet, people are upset that I've seen several videos about people saying gratitude is a scam. They don't like the idea of people telling us to always be thankful and appreciative. There's videos out there floating around. I talked about this with, I think, Blue Pill a week or two ago, where Red Pill, a person was mad. I forgot who it was, but a person with a couple of brother and somebody else made a video about the law of attraction and the secret, and they were like, yo, that shit is fake. It's, it ain't real. The law of attraction, if my life ain't changed since I seen it. I get a sense that you mentioned Jesus earlier. Like, you could teach somebody about spirituality, but if they cannot tap into it or utilize it the way you are, they will end up being mad at you for even telling them about it in the first place. And I'm like, damn, is that what happened to Jesus? He telling them you could be equal to God. He's doing this shit. They can't do it. So now they mad at him and they call him a scam artist and all that. And they're like, you a fraud. You ain't shit. So it's like, it's interesting. We in this most important time, and people like, man, F that spirituality shit. That shit to work. And I'm like, yo, y'all giving up at the wrong time.
No, they ain't.
Good. What you mean by that?
See, first of all, they are not as aware as they believe they are. So they got to go back and let life whoop them a little bit more. See, life got a couple more spankings to get their ass before they get to see straight. So the ones who feel that way, they mad at religion, and they taking it out on their spiritual development. They ain't really mad at being taught spiritual practice. They're mad at religion for misleading them about spiritual things. So in the first stage of waking up, they're throwing a tantrum. Right? They got to go through their tantrum to go back and get bopped upside the head and realize that religion is not spirituality. They're not the same thing. Having gratitude just opens the bandwidth. Right. That's all. The bandwidth of the frequency you're already on. You can have gratitude and some fucked up stuff. You gotta remember that. People can be grateful that somebody murdered somebody. But when that grateful energy come back, it's coming back with some juice. Because it's gonna come back. That says by being grateful and expressing it in a positive manner, make sure that everything you do come back to you with pure intention. But when you complaining about being grateful, don't nobody owe your ass nothing. And life will prove it to you if you think they playing. Life will put you in a position that you have to need so many people just to make it through the day that you get tired of calling on people just to help you make it through the day. Just to prove to you that you should be grateful to have this many people that you can call on. I'm gonna make sure you finna call on every motherfucker you know today about this problem. Life's gonna put that obstacle in your path. You actually self-sabotaging, but you don't know it. Because your anger at gratitude is, she kinda like extra feminine. She kinda like got Oshun energy. She don't like to be messed with, but when you piss her off, she the wrong one. She'd rather give you back the love energy you exchanged than to give you back the hate energy that you showed. She's just a delivery person for karma.
Well, you said is the delivery person for what?
Karma. She just tell karma how much of it you need.
That's some shit there, man. I like that. That's some game there, Ron. Yo, Ron said he said it with a smooth voice too. He said she just tell karma how much you need. Oh, you gotta love this. You gotta love this information, y'all. You gotta love it. I have fun with this thing here, y'all. I have fun. Listen, some people in the chat, a couple of y'all, I seen a couple of y'all post about the animals. Let me show Rod this here.
You talking about the grizzly bears and
Yellowstone fleeing animals spark imminent volcanic eruption concerns, but experts say what's really going on. We're not gonna worry about that. Those quote unquote experts. I want to ask you what's going on, Rod. You heard about this yet?
Do you remember one of my first shows I did with you? I said if you want to know which way to go, follow the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of our first shows, Rich. Now you seen the animals here. You get the hell away from Yellowstone. Yellowstone been having the geyser on the verge of eruption for fucking 75 years.
Mm.
Right? And none of the animals never left like this before in
Mm-hmm.
that whole time. Now they getting in the wind. The bison ain't the only thing leaving from there. Bears is, mountain lions. We don't even know how many rodents is leaving from there, running from underground burrows,
Mm-hmm.
or how many birds that flew away from Yellowstone. But we know that the way that the animals behaving, this about to be big.
Mm. You know how you talk about the Grand Canyon and talk about what it used to be in ancient times.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell us about Yellowstone Park? What was Yellowstone Park 5,000 years ago or whatever? What was that like?
Those were hot salt baths. They
Okay.
too hot now. They get too hot now. But they were a lot more shallow back then, and they didn't hold as much heat, so you was able to use them for healing purposes. And the Epsom salt draws out the cortisol in the system, the stress hormones and stuff, and so you would use the hot springs. Now they hot lakes, water hot enough to burn the skin off of you.
Mm.
But it wasn't like that back then.
Mm.
Like, well, I'm just using the time frame when the Grand Canyon looked like a glistening city of glass with the water that was at the top of the canyon.
Mm. Mm.
Right, that was an original geographical design, engineered design.
Mm.
Right, but they was looking for a certain ambiance in the atmosphere and able to draw on a certain frequencies stronger.
Mm.
So that's what I'm using as a time marker to tell you that Yellowstone Springs wasn't always this hot. And at that time that everything was bustling over here, the springs were shallow and they were warm, but they wasn't hot enough to hurt you, like harm you from the heat. You're more likely if you stayed in there too long to dehydrate from the salt in the water absorbing the moisture from your body.
Mm.
That was more of a concern, but
Mm.
different people was coming and using it for different stuff back then. We've been here a long time, man. These modern dates is the most erroneous thing that you could possibly imagine to be connected to the truth.
Mm. 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 Wow. One thing I meant to ask you earlier when we was talking about the moon, and you was talking about how this is a new moon that got put here. I think you said 150,000 years ago or something like that. And we always hear about people. What is the moon's connection to money? They said money comes from moon. Moony money. They said the word money actually is derived from the moon. So how does the moon impact our finances or our wealth or what we got in our pocket, Rod?
When you're talking about moon magic for money, you're talking about the magic of manifestation of silver. The properties of the metal silver is the baseline for the frequency that you're trying to tap into. That's why they call it the silvery moon,
Mm-hmm.
right? This talking about the silver key, the silver cord. The money passed through the mother line got to come down the silver cord by heritable birthright. That's what they're talking about for real.
Mm.
So all of the women that's doing matriarchal birthright ceremonies, they calling their money home.
Mm-hmm.
If they ain't doing them, they should be doing them to call their money home because all they're gonna do is make the earth start healing faster. And people be thinking that when you do your magic, you got to put curses out on people. Sometimes You put a curse on a person by just asking for what's yours to be returned. And they curse themselves because they're trying to keep it from you. And so they get in the way. And so now your return call becomes like a proverbial steamroller, and they become the rodent that get trapped on the tar while you steamrolling it out.
Damn.
Should have left you alone. Look, the women don't understand the level of power they have by calling a matriarchal birthright back. You just got to know where your matriarchal birthright belongs at, because when they call it back, that's where you're going to end up at. If you don't want to end up there, don't call it back. But if you want your birthright and you call it back, you can end up with exactly where your birthright belongs. Going to have to be for your birthright to come home. And I would recommend that every witch, tarot reader, or oracle reader, seer that's women, just call they stuff back and ask for their sisters to have theirs back too. Because that's going to give them back control of the earth over time. They just got to keep saying it. You got to put enough energy in the atmosphere to change the algorithm. Just like computers, the same thing. It's just dealing with the human mind.
Right. Indeed. Let's I want to get to about 2 questions before we get out of here. Okay, no, I seen Slimya Ben asked this. Please ask him if he heard about the 169,000 mile long plasma burst that the sun released recently. You heard anything about that, Rod?
Yes, sir. That ain't the only one. That's just one.
Man,
they've been sending out some of the most powerful solar flares ever seen in the last 6 months. But the human residents been responding to all of them. You can read them together. If you want to study astrology, study astronomy. You know, read them together. If you're going to study geometry or study numerology, learn them together.
Right.
Keep the couples together. You won't have no divorce.
I like that word. Like, give me some more questions in the chat. I wanted to ask Rod something from this book, but I don't see it. Here now.
What book is
it? It's an ebook I got, but it's called the Book of Wisdom. Let me see. Damn, I don't know. Hold up, give me a second. I don't know if you can see this. Let me put it on the full screen. When we talk about atoms, because they say everything in this holographic matrix is made of atoms, including this phone, these blue light glasses I have, this statue I got right here. Everything is made of atoms. I want to. They said we've been lied to. Hold up, let me put this. Give me a second.
Specific atomic weight. That's helium. So they're showing you the positions of what has to be present for helium to exist. The other one, we can't tell which atom it is, because whatever the electrons around it is, they're in motion. So it's creating a blurred effect, which is making it look like it's hazed over with a torsion field or a cloud.